We have streamed every Tuesday for like, I don't know, the past 12 Tuesdays or something. We normally don't miss resets, but I've mainly been streaming every Tuesday in hopes that random Rolled Hawkmoon would drop. And it turns out the one day I didn't have internet, the one day we didn't stream, Hawkmoon random rolls are dropping as well as a Hawkmoon catalyst. The timing couldn't be worse. So if you are looking for a guide on how to get Hawkmoon, the catalyst, and random rolls, just the TLDR version, go see Crow. He's still with the spider. Yes, he's still not left the lair. Got a bad case of Stockholm. He's got a quest. Do the quest. Involves you killing some bad guys, bang bang, and then upon defeating the boss, you get 2 randomly rolled Hawkmoons, as well as the Hawkmoon catalyst. Now first, before we get into the catalyst, I want to bring up how farming for this works. Essentially, this Harbinger mission can be farmed once a week on each character, giving you 2 randomly rolled Hawkmoons. And these are the random rolls here. Now, I want to point out that everything here changes except for Alloy Magazine. That still stays the same. Bungie's probably trying to make sure that we can't add additional mag size, as that would make Hawkmoon, well, pretty potent. Regardless, though, there's a lot of things here that are really interesting that I wanted to test out today. Most notably, the range-specific perks, things like Rangefinder, Opening Shot, Killing Wind. But there's also some other things that add a level of consistency. Snapshot, Surplus, Quick Draw. And of course, for my controller players, you can never go wrong with moving target. But probably the most interesting thing, at least for me, because we normally don't have any choice over this, are the grip legendary traits themselves. We have an option of 5, from Combat Grip, Heavy Grip, Smooth Grip, Texture Grip, all of which have different stats that might make Hawkmoon feel a little better in your hands. Some add recoil direction, and substantially so. Things like Combat Grip, which I gotta say is not necessary considering that the recoil direction of Hawkmoon is 96, so it's already almost max. You don't need to max it out any more than that. But then other ones that increase handling or stability. I would say, at least from what I have observed, the 2 grips that I like the most are actually Smooth Grip and Texture Grip. One gives you a ginormous buff there in handling, which is Texture Grip at plus 15. It does slightly hurt stability, but mouse and keyboard players might be able to get around that. However, Smooth Grip gives you the best of both worlds, plus 5 in stability as well as plus 5 in handling. Little small stat bumps, but they're nice. And I really like that Bungie actually gave us some freedom here and allowing us to choose different grips, or at least seek out different grips to go in combination with our favorite traits. Which takes us to the rolls that we use right here today. Big shout out to Light Razor. The man's literally got the best RNG. I got some rolls, but they were all pretty crap. Snapshot, Quick Draw. Not that those things aren't good, but not necessary, especially considering that regular targeting mods already increase ADS speed the equivalent of what enhanced targeting mods used to do. Therefore, Snapshot didn't seem necessary, as well as Quick Draw. If I really just wanted to make sure my weapon was in my hand as quickly as possible, I normally just instinctively take advantage of the swap bug. But you also got things like dexterity perks. Hands down though, these are some of the rolls you want to seek out. First up, this was more of our consistent roll, Hammer Forged Rifling, which is actually pretty good. It just increases range, doesn't hurt anything else. Killing Wind, final blows grant increased mobility, weapon range, and handling for a short duration. Gonna be some questions. Does Killing Wind stack with Paracausal Shot? Essentially, Paracausal states that final blows and precision hits with Hawkmoon grant stack of Paracausal Charge. The final round in the magazine deals bonus damage based on the number of stacks. Stowing Hawkmoon on the final round does remove the bonus, but again, you can stow it at any other point. You just can't stow it on that final round, or you will lose that big buff there in damage and it will reset. But the big thing is the exotic catalyst itself. That's actually dropping from the mission. It does require you to defeat a number of enemies. It took me about 45 minutes to do. The Shuro-Chi checkpoint is probably the best place to get this done really quickly. About 7-8%, maybe a little more than that per run here towards our catalyst completion, but essentially just kill a ton of ads. And I know there's some people that's going to ask, what about PvP? Can't I just complete this catalyst inside of PvP? You can. I believe it is 1% per kill. Now let's talk about this catalyst. First up, it increases the magazine size. Not by much. It's an extra 1. On top of that, we did test it out. No, that does not necessarily mean you can hold Paracausal Shot times 8. It still camps out at times 7. This is more or less Bungie's way of giving you forgiveness, making sure you can get to that cap of times 7 or even times 6 and still have a bullet there on the end to take advantage of those shots that you've accumulated. Now the catalyst continues. It also grants increased handling and reload speed and weapon range based on the number of stacks of Paracausal Charges. Yes, this is what I'm talking about. This does stack with something like Killing Wind, meaning you'll be getting double the benefits. Although Killing Wind gives you a initial bump there, and then it tapers off. It's diminishing. Now, as far as the catalyst goes, that increase in range is about +1 meter with each stack of paracausal charge. Now, most base default Hawkmoons, just the regular version of Hawkmoon with the question mark there in its trait slot, has a damage fall off range beginning around 30 meters, maybe a little bit more than 30 meters, but it sits at about 30 for the most part. And the caddy essentially allows you to add on +1 meter with each precision hit. This is really nice. Now, if you're pairing this with something like Killing Wind gives you about a 4-meter bump in your range, but then you also tack on the +1 from paracausal. Now, when testing things, Killing Wind would actually max out around 38 meters, at least this particular roll. It will initially reach 35 with a single stack of paracausal as well as Killing Wind. Then it will go all the way up to 38 meters, but this one seemed to cap out, which takes us to our other randomly rolled Hawkmoon. Yes, that's right, guys. You know we had to try one out. This one comes with full bore, which does greatly increase our range, but at the cost of stability as well as our handling speed. But this one comes with Rangefinder. Aiming this weapon increases its effective range and zoom magnification. Think of it as just a flat buff to your range by approximately 3 to 4 meters. Now, in this case, this allowed Hawkmoon here to start off no paracausal charges with damage fall off range of 34 meters, which is pretty amazing. That's fantastic for a 140 round per minute hand cannon. And then with each stack, that would increase that range even more. But even this one, Rangefinder plus full bore plus paracausal charges, it would still cap out at about 39 meters, potentially 39.5. So almost 40 meters. Now, a lot of this testing was just done with paracausal +6, because of course +7 is when you actually throw in that increase in damage and things are a little harder to test. So you actually just take the ranges I just gave you, Killing Wind with some decent range stats from your barrel perk, reaches up to 38 meters plus 1 more with your final round shot. It doesn't really matter with that final round shot because you're just going to kill everything anyways. The same thing applies with Rangefinder. It actually can reach up to 40 meters on that final round before it experiences any damage fall off. But again, like I said, doesn't matter. You're in the final round. Paracausal is just going to stroke anything that it hits, especially at ×6 and above. And with that extra added round there to your magazine, even though it doesn't look like much, it was helpful and I really did like it. Which takes us to our review here for Hawkmoon. This is obviously more gauged at boosting the range more than its consistency. And although the range does tie into consistency as well as weapon stickiness, there are other options that I think might actually have a place here depending on the play style and of course the map. The map really dictates a lot of this. And considering you're going to be going after randomly rolled Hawkmoons, there's no reason why you shouldn't keep a Rangefinder randomly rolled Hawkmoon or a Killing Wind Hawkmoon. But simultaneously, I would urge people to consider moving target and opening shot, both of which substantially increases the consistency of the hand cannon. I know I don't have gameplay here, but I have countless hand cannons in previous sandboxes with both of these perks, especially opening shot, that is so good. And there's something to remember about opening shot. Some people think that this trait, which improves accuracy and range on the opening shot of an attack, only applies to the first round of your magazine. That's not the case. Opening shot actually will reproc as long as you pause in between shots. Now, granted, mid-gunfight, you're not able to do that. You're not actually able to pause mid-gunfight or you're gonna die. But it does help with the first initial shot, and I will say majority of the inaccuracies that occur for most people is in the first shot. And considering that paracausal actually stacks charges and increases the range, that exotic catalyst is actually gonna make up for that range when opening shot is no longer procced. But I wanna go ahead and paint a scenario for you. Imagine getting to paracausal ×6 or even ×7. You know you got the insta-kill shot, but you back up, you reset, you find your prey, and now in that 2 to 3 second time frame, opening shot is now reprocced for that final round in the magazine, thus increasing both the range as well as the accuracy. On top of paracausal ×6 or ×7, which is also increasing the range, fellas. You see where I'm going with this. I want to test the one-hit kill range of that combination. I really think that opening shot is an underrated perk for Hawkmoon and its exotic traits. Previously, I had looked at Rangefinder and something like Killing Wind as being the sole options I was going to be going for. But I had no idea that the exotic catalyst would allow us to tack on more range range, thus alleviating that issue of range and allowing us to choose other traits here. So even though I didn't like Quick Draw or Snapshot, I simply didn't like those because I felt like I had other traits that are just better, especially when combined with Hawkmoon's exotic traits. So guys, that is my review there for Hawkmoon. Again, the weapon feels good. Like really, with the exotic catalyst, fully masterworked, with the right rolls, this thing feels phenomenal. It definitely is truly in its final form, Hawk Moist. So guys, try out some of the rolls I recommended, and again, farm it on each account or each character each week. You get 2 drops per character, and I actually think it's a pretty good farm. But try the suggested rolls that I brought up, especially opening shot, moving targets. I really think that you can live without range boosting perks here on Hawkmoon. I think you can get away with it. But again, there's nothing wrong with keeping multiple rolls of this exotic, and I'm really interested to see if Bungie's gonna go this direction with other exotic weapons. Whatever the case, it's at least working here for Hawkmoon. Fellas and ladies, thank you all for coming and watching, and as always,
slap that like button like your mama told you right.